What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Unpopular, the pop culture podcast. It's episode 3, and it's the middle of December, so we figured we would do a little holiday special. And I want to take a second to thank all 16 of you that have subscribed to the channel and have engaged with us in some way. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, and you'll see more of us in the future. We're going to be talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, the new David Harbour as Santa Claus in a Die Hard-esque situation movie, Violent Night, and then for some reason we had technical difficulties with Nick's microphone, so it sounds like he's underwater, in a cave, in an underwater cave, or in an underwater cave chewing Pop Rocks. I don't know why. It's definitely my fault, though. But anyway, let's get into the episode. Yeah, funerals are sad. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Unpopular, the pop culture podcast. And today is our little holiday special, I would call it.
That's right.
You know, we wanted to kind of celebrate early before everyone else gets on YouTube and makes Christmas videos and covers ours. You know, we'll be way at the bottom there, but it almost stays true to our name. And I just wanted to say thank you, since the last time we made a video, to all 12 of you subscribers out there that have been watching our videos. You guys, or girls, or whatever you want, are awesome. And thank you so much for watching and coming back to watch this one, because I love holiday shit, or at least holiday stuff in my fandoms. It's always fun.
Yeah, I feel like it really takes the edge off of just kind of want to like destroy myself from the holiday stress.
Listening to Dominic the Italian Christmas Donkey on repeat, you know, 100 times.
It's just kind of like, it kind of definitely takes the edge off. Like,
yeah.
A couple of holiday specials.
It's cool to see, like, when you're invested in something, like I've talked about how much I love Treehouse of Horror, because nothing hits as hard as when you're just, like, in your fandom and a new episode, a new book, whatever comes out, and it's a Christmas one because you're celebrating Christmas at that time. So it's kind of just like, I don't know, what would you call it?
It's a nostalgia thing, you know.
It's immersive.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
For
and you're like, oh, Batman celebrates Christmas too.
Right. Like, I don't think there's not really anybody that doesn't get involved in the Christmas
I look
special.
at it as it's this time of year in that thing I like as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, we got some holiday cheer going on. We got our holiday sweaters. Nick's rocking a little Santa hat and a cute little sweater over there. He brought us
holiday mug.
Yeah, he brought us cookies and we're sipping on eggnog. It's not really eggnog. But I told the guys, I'm like, "Oh, we'll drink eggnog and do our holiday special." And then,
I was really looking forward to the nog. I thought it was part of the transaction, Larry.
Well, look, dude. Nick texted me probably 2 hours ago. He's like, "I'm making cookies for the nog." And I'm like, you know, man, I don't know if nog's a good idea for, like, sipping and talking for, like, an hour.
It's like, sits there.
It's lactose. It's creamy. It's just like, you don't drink on milk, you know, a bunch of milk when you're about to do a speech or something.
Right, like, just sitting there, like friggin' just thick bushel of friggin' just nog just on your mustache. Well, you know, but I mean...
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that, would I, James?
You would if you friggin' drank the nog.
Oh, I drink the nog. I slog nog like no other.
He's the nog dog outlaw, this one right here. But yeah, it definitely lays it on thick for the chords.
And I want to know what all of you think about eggnog in the comments. I love eggnog. I have always loved eggnog. I see it having more of a resurgence, and it's getting less hate these days, but there's still the nog naysayers.
I feel like it's just kind of like one of those things that kind of crept back in and is getting popular again. Remember how, like, it's not like the Moscow
Like
Mule.
mullets?
Oh, it is kind of like mullets in a way, yeah. But, I mean, mullets...
They're making a strong comeback.
They have made a comeback, and I think we can thank, like, probably Stranger Things for that.
Well, it's like I go to pick up, I think I told you guys, like, I pick up my kid from school and I see 3 fresh as fuck mullets coming out of there, and I'm like, that's intentional.
At the gym,
you know?
like, there's like 3 or 4 guys that
Yeah.
they just have mullets, and they're like well-kept mullets too. So you know.
Me and James go to the gym. We work out. No big deal.
Well, I was going to the gym, but it's not.
You've abandoned me.
Well, it's just that I have things to do that don't involve being bored and lifting heavy things.
Fuck you, James. Fuck you. That's
I'll get back
your body.
eventually.
That's your body talking to you.
It is my body talking to me. I got to get my ass back in the gym because, you know, I don't want to get skinny fat titties or anything like that.
Yeah, we'll be all right. When we get freaked out enough, you'll get back there.
Yeah, it'll happen.
But we got all of our fancy holiday mugs. I think we all want to show our holiday mugs.
This
I know
is
I
true.
do. I bought this on my last day of Spencer's Gifts before they didn't know that I was going to quit the next day, because I'm like, oh man, I have an employee discount for one more day. This fancy little one-piece mug. I love it. How about you, James? What do you got over there? I know this is part of our set, but you get to use it.
Well,
today.
see, I mean, it's not necessarily a Christmas mug per se, but I did get it for Christmas from my brother, and it features the fantastic Mr. Breen, who is a master filmmaker, and it has the famous quote, "I cannot believe you have committed suicide."
Famous in
Cannot
quotes.
believe you have committed suicide.
Get that out of here. I don't want any of that. So today we're going to be talking about two things. And much like the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, this episode's going to be a little bit shorter and sure to disappoint. So we're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and then we're going to be talking about the new movie Violent Night, which is basically just Die Hard with Santa Claus.
Yeah, and it was good.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was entertaining.
For once, when we all walked, because me, Nick, and James all went and saw it in theaters, and I felt like when we all walked out, we all had something different to say, and it wasn't like a positive. It's like we were all on 3 different levels with this movie, which is like, I mean, that's kind of out of the norm. Normally we're both all like, oh, that part, oh, this thing, that was awesome. But this one was a little bit wishy-washy, because as much as it absolutely is what it advertised, I feel like there was a little bit more to it, feeling-wise, because when you see the trailer for Violent Night, it just looks like over the top. You're expecting gore.
Yeah, like just straight action thriller type.
Like a cult movie in the making, basically. This is going to be the next cult, movie, whatever. And I think it had a lot more going on. It had a softer tone to it, and in a good way, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Just like the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which, as you can tell from just shortly listening, that I wasn't too impressed. All right, well, I think it's about time we get to business. We bullshitted a lot, but you know what? I like bullshitting. Hopefully you guys have been along for the ride. I like just talking about the week and...
Oh, yeah. I mean, outside of the exclusive thing, I think the only remarkable thing was I had an awesome paralysis fucking episode this morning.
A paralysis? Well, you're old, so what happened? Did you cough too hard?
No, man. A sleep paralysis episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are always fucking fun. I haven't had one of those in a long time.
That was just me sitting on your chest in the middle of the night.
It's very sweet of you, Larry. Thank you so much.
All right, so let's get into our first segment today, which I think we'll do having an episode first. So let's get into it. Sound effects, which I never add the sound effects. I still keep us talking. Sound effects.
Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Okay, so what was this? Just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, this premiered on Disney Plus. The Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, written and directed by James Gunn, of course, and I was kind of excited for this one because it was a short, it's not a full-length movie.
Just an hour.
Right, just like 45 minutes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I can dig that, I'm like, okay, I just talked about how I like holiday shit and my pop culture shit, so I'm all about it, And when I texted you about it, you were like, oh, I've heard good things. And I'm like, oh, damn. The internet always says everything's good for the most part if it's a comic book movie. But, okay.
Well, this was what my buddy, he said, and he likes a lot of stuff, too, that are line up with things that I like.
Your buddy's a liar, James.
He's reliable.
I'm just kidding. So, like I said, this is brand new, and it was okay. So, basically, the premise is that Peter, who is the only human on the Guardians, who's the only one that knows about Christmas, he's kind of down in the dumps, or everyone assumes he's down in the dumps because they hear this backstory about how when he was young, Yondu ruined Christmas for him or whatever. And so Mantis and Drax, take it upon themselves to try to do something to brighten Peter's Christmas spirit and help show their appreciation for everything. They're like, we're gonna bring Christmas to Peter. And so we have We have an animated opening, which is just kind of par for the course. I would have much preferred an old school claymation
style. Yeah, that would.
What is that? What group of movies is that called?
Oh God, I don't know. Like, but it's the Christmas.
With the old snowman with the mustache, and he tells us all about Christmas.
With the Island of Misfits toys.
Yeah,
and all that
like
stuff,
that would have been. That's a perfect opportunity for that.
That would have been really cool.
And they totally missed it. And I don't even want to say, oh, they couldn't. It's not logistically. No, this is fucking Disney. They could have done it. They could have put some interns in a workshop for 2 weeks.
To fucking put it together. It's James Gunn, man. I feel like he would have fucking done it himself if need be.
Exactly. So, and we see in this animated opening, Peter kind of, he's hanging out with the other guy. I forget the other
one guy
name.
who inherited, I forget what the hell his name is.
Yondu's
Mohawk. Yeah, he's the only other Terran.
Right.
Human, along with Quill.
So they're celebrating Christmas, kind of. They have this little rinky-dink thing. Yondu comes in, and he's Scrooge McFucking Duck, and, like, stomps on their Christmas and throws everything away. And it's funny, like, if you look at the packages, the gifts, like, one says, like, Taserface is in there and everything. I'm like, okay, I like that.
And, of course, there's one for Yondu and stuff.
Yeah,
and he just throws in the rubbish.
Right. So that's how Yondu ruined Christmas. I ruined Christmas in other ways growing up, mostly by spoiling presents, and no one ever lets me live that down, but, here we are. Like, oh, remember when you were a kid and you did something fucking dumb? I'm like, yeah, all the time. It keeps me up at night, actually.
Right.
Didn't you, like, sprain your wrist sledding, like, in middle school?
I had a hairline fracture on my wrist, and because we were sledding, went off the jump, and when I landed like that on my wrist, and everyone was calling me a pussy, and they're throwing snowballs at me. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm done. Pussy. Okay, whatever. You're a pussy. Whatever.
Fucking assholes, man.
But that's how Yondu ruined Christmas, and so now we're in Nowhere, a little market in Nowhere, a little living space.
They bought it off of what's his face, the Collector, apparently.
Okay, I totally missed that.
Yeah, I guess a little backstory. What's her face? Nebula fills in and says that they bought it off the Collector. Which, how the hell does a Collector just give up?
Well, dude, he's in shambles after what happened.
Yeah. So but Nowhere's all fucked up. So they're repairing it, and they're talking about how Also, Mantis mentions.
Oh, this pisses me off.
That she's Peter's sister.
Yeah, she's like, oh, Ego was my dad, and Ego was Peter's dad. I'm like, that's such bullshit. Why did you do that?
It's whatever. So anyhow,
so dumb. And no, I put it in here how mad and
how
dumb it was. I'm like, because that's not in the comic books. And it does, normally I'm not like, oh, it has to be from the comic. I'm not normally like that. But this was just like, it was thrown in so lazily during a holiday special where you're not paying attention to actual story or anything. So now it's canon just because they made it fucking canon in this little holiday special. And
a Christmas special.
Oh,
Really?
It was lame, man.
But I mean, to me, it's like, since I don't have any attachments to any of these characters.
I'm glad we have opposing views on this because people might agree or disagree with both of us in the comments. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. But I have an attachment to not the original Guardians lineup, but the 2003 lineup. I believe it was 2003 where Rocket was in there, and they reintroduced. It was like the new Guardians of the Galaxy. That is the lineup like we see in the movies.
Right.
But it's what it was inspired from, the comic books. But now, in the new Guardians, they got the uniforms from those books, which is kind of a redemption for me. I'm like, okay,
Yeah. I saw that in a movie they got.
But I loved the original Guardians lineup. It was like that first time where it was just like this group of losers, and it was just kind of not taken seriously. And when I was I was probably 13 or so, and picked that up, and it was just fun, and I hate that they made Mantis and Peter related. I think it's really lazy. And the way that they dropped it so nonchalantly, she's like, oh yeah, me and Peter are related. I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why? But anyway, let's move on to my next grievance about this movie. So we're in the square. They're all just talking, and Cosmo's there. We finally get to see Cosmo, which is one of my favorite Marvel characters of all time. And what did they do? What did those liberal snowflake Marvel people do? They made Cosmo a girl. I'm like, what the fuck, dude. Not that it really matters.
I thought it was a little boy. I thought it was supposed to be.
I looked it up.
Supposed
I fucking looked it up just to make sure before I ranted on this podcast about it. I'm like, okay, I thought original Cosmo was a boy.
Because Cosmo tried his best. I remember the frame.
Right.
Dude.
Well, women can try their best too, despite, some statements you said earlier. I'm just kidding. But Cosmo, and I even looked it up. In the original books, he was a boy. Because I always imagine a Russian dude's head.
That's kind of how I picture it too. Like, Cosmo will try his best.
Yeah.
That's the way I imagine it.
And they made Cosmo a girl, which is fine, whatever. Yeah. But I just wanted to make a joke about Marvel doing gender and race swaps, because who really cares? But it's like, Cosmo is a character that I really enjoyed, and I would have liked that dude's Russian accent.
Yeah,
people are going to say I'm shitty about being petty about it.
I was
but
caught off by it too because, you kind of have a certain voice.
Yeah. And when I've read this character for years, and I imagine that voice in my head.
Something like that, I can definitely get it. And which, that kind of negates my earlier comment too about I don't have any attachment to these characters because it just made me eat my words.
Yeah, dude, Cosmo's great. I love Cosmo. I used to run him in Hero Clicks back when I played Hero Clicks, but anyway, let's not talk about my great Hero Clicks lineups that I used to play. But
I got him a vending machine terrain piece for his birthday one year.
I still have the ones that you got. I got the Black Manta, and there's another one. I can't remember. I got it somewhere though. But I got rid of all. I know I still have my Cosmo too. Cosmo and Dr. Doom on Silver Surfer board. Great times. Great times. But anyway, we get, let's see here. So Mantis and Drax decide, based on everything they know about Peter, is that they're going to go to Earth and kidnap Kevin Bacon.
We're going to get Kevin Bacon.
Which is, that's a great idea for a holiday special. I like that. Let's see how this goes. But that is their game plan. And they all think Kevin Bacon is this, like, the man. They think he's like he's a hero and all this shit because of everything Peter told them.
Exactly. They think that their perception of Kevin Bacon is everything that Peter has thought about Kevin Bacon since the framework that he had when he was a kid and he left Earth. Right. So it's like, and Kevin Bacon, he's not on board with this shit.
Well, before we even get, there, we're attacked by a slew of shitty Christmas songs that are meant to be really fun and just kind of whatever. Because we get that before they even take off, we get hit by that one alien. It's like, hey, Peter, I got this guitar. I know how to play music now. And Peter's like, all right, show me what you got. And then he starts up playing this really lame Christmas song that's basically like, aliens. They don't get it.
Aliens' perception of Christmas.
What? It's funny because they don't get it. Right. I'm like, okay, whatever. And the song goes on for way too long. Way too.
It was just
long.
a little, just a little bit too much.
And so then, so Drax and Mantis head out to Earth, and they land in Hollywood, and they're trying to find Kevin Bacon. And so they go to a club first, right?
They go to a club. Like, I thought it was pretty funny, though, when they first get there, and everybody's looking up at him, and Mantis is like, why is everybody looking at us? Did you forget to turn on the cloaking device?
Oh, yeah, and they're in the ship.
Drax is just like, no. And then he just turns it on.
She's like, I can see. And this is funny, because we get to see Mantis and Drax, a dynamic that we haven't seen in the movies before.
Right, and I think that was probably the highlight of the whole thing. I mean, which it kind of needed to be because they were central to the story.
Well, yeah, and Mantis has never really gotten a lot of... I mean, she's had screen time in Guardians, but never, character development. We never get to see her personality and just action, And it was cool to see that, but my one complaint about the Drax and Mantis thing, it was just this whole holiday special, anytime Drax was in it, you're just like, all right, what's the one-liner gonna be? All right, what's Drax's joke? You're just waiting for the Drax joke, the I don't understand it Drax joke. And in the previous Guardians movies, we've had those, but they've been peppered in, for just the right time. But every time Drax opens his mouth, it's one of those things, and it's like, come on, dude.
I think
same peppering. but in 45 minutes instead of a feature length.
Okay,
So that's probably why it
Well,
came off heavy. But I like as dumb as it was, the thing with the little elf.
The elf was hilarious.
Drax
And
loves
him
his
thinking
little
that
elf.
this candy cane was a silly little man.
Oh,
and
yeah,
she's like,
yeah.
it isn't a man. And he's like, how do you know it isn't? Like, shit like that. Like, I love Drax. I think that he's a great character.
I like Drax too, but it's like that. It was so one note.
It was one note, but you gotta understand too, like, there's no room for anything else, really.
Yeah, there is. It
What
doesn't
else
need
is
to be
there?
every fucking line.
Because it's not like there's no villain in this fucking thing.
It's not fun. It's like fucking Matilda. You guys, it's like Matilda. It's like Brucey. It's like when they're feeding him the chocolate cake in Matilda.
I've
and
seen Matilda,
Brucey
man.
loves chocolate cake, but they keep stuffing him with chocolate cake until he's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it's like, man, I can't do it. Just give me a little bit of something. Give me a little break, Like, we can take that, I think, from Mantis in this movie because we've never seen Mantis in just, like, a regular setting.
Right, and because Mantis, like you pointed out, hasn't really had any development either,
Right.
Drax, it's kind of really hard to put anything else with him because his character's become obsolete. He doesn't really serve that much purpose outside of just being comedy relief now.
Dude, the entire Guardians of the Galaxy are useless.
They are now. Yeah.
All of them are useless right now. So that's not an excuse, James.
No, it isn't an excuse, but I mean, dude, I wasn't expecting anything major with this holiday special, so I took it for what it was.
That's fair. I'll leave you alone. I'll let you have your opinion.
I thought it was okay.
I'll back off.
But I mean, I get your gripe though, because it's like the James Gunn thing.
It was just too much.
It's becoming very much formulaic. And that he has a very, you know what to expect with everything that he does.
Right.
And I like it, but it's getting old like anything else.
Right.
I
think you and me are both suffering from superhero
Oh,
fatigue.
dude, for sure. It's a thing. I feel like anybody that's been following comic books in the MCU for this long, everybody's
It's a different monster, man. It's
Yeah,
a totally different
yeah.
monster than when this all started, and that's okay.
But I feel like Marvel, from what I heard, they are starting to kind of like they're listening more now and understanding that, hey, Phase 4 was kind of a fucking mess.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see where it goes.
All right. So anyway,
You're gonna have to fucking work to get my interest back here,
that's
guys.
right. It's true. It's
It is
absolutely
true.
true
You are.
because I don't watch any Marvel stuff unless you tell me you watched it and it was really good.
You
So
haven't
tell
watched
me-
Moon Knight?
No, I watched the first episode and that was enough.
It wasn't enough, obviously.
Oh fuck, dude! I'm just
I
so.
watched all of the first season, and I thought it was okay.
You liked it?
But it was more of like just something to throw on to watch
I got it.
while eating dinner. I'm sorry.
I'm just
It has
so.
some cool stuff in it, but it's
Well, no, it's for what it was in Phase 4. It wasn't perfect, but I liked that it got a lot of things right.
You like that it had Moon Knight, James.
What I didn't like is that he didn't cut off his arch nemesis' face, but I can't have everything my way.
Yeah, that's fair because they canceled my Swamp Thing show.
It's a travesty.
If I can't be happy, you can't
Well-
either.
This is true. This is probably true.
Speaking of questionably PG-13 movies, not that I think this deserves a higher rating, there was some kind of messed up bad boy stuff in this holiday special, despite being, owned by Disney now. Like, there was drinking, we got a shit bomb at the end.
I'm happy that you brought that up because I want to talk about that and just the next. Well, once when the cops arrive, all this stuff happens where I was like, whoa. Really happy you brought that up.
They went pretty hard on
Because
that shit.
they first land, they get to this bar, they're asking people where to find Kevin Bacon. That Merry Christmas song is playing. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
I hate that song.
By the waitresses, the ones that do that. I know what boys like.
I fucking hate that song. I hate both those songs.
Yeah, they're terrible. It's both terrible. I've been singing that and driving Tori crazy for the last couple weeks, and I don't even sing the actual song. I just go, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Me. That's it. So, but anyway, they're getting hammered at the club, and once they get out of the club, they're drunk outside. They ask a lady if she knows where Kevin Bacon is. She tries giving them a map of the stars, but they don't have money for it, so she takes it back. And then, like, doesn't someone creep up and go, like, you want to know where Kevin Bacon lives?
Well,
that was the lady.
It was a lady because they're drunk, and she said that you got to pay $40 for it, and she's like, "You're gonna give it to me for free."
Oh yeah.
And
She's
she
her
gives
mantis
it to
powers on him.
And then she's
they
like,
rob her of her money.
yeah, and she does it like angrily too. You can tell that she's not exactly happy about it. She's like, zip.
Right. So they've already been drinking, which we've seen the Guardians do before. We've seen them get drunk, but now they're stealing from people, which I mean we've seen them do. But like they find out where Kevin Bacon lives, and they creep up to his house, and
Steal some Christmas
they steal the
decorations.
ornaments. Drax gets his little tiny
His
man, and Mantis gets her candy cane, and they're ringing on the doorbell, and he's ignoring them until they literally just like Drax just bursts through, doesn't he?
Well, see, but the great thing is Kevin Bacon is watching Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Yeah, holiday classic.
Yeah, which is fantastic, and par for the course for James Gunn to put that in there.
Me and Nick had a fancy evening one night watching Santa Claus versus the Martians with a cheese board and all of that good stuff.
Fantastic viewing, man.
Yeah, it was a great
essential
movie.
holiday viewing.
But yeah, I saw that, him watching that. I'm like, oh, hey, I gotta tell everyone. I gotta tell the guys. But yeah, Drax bursts in basically, and they're freaking Kevin Bacon out, and he runs out of the house. And here's where it kind of lost me with Drax. So Kevin's running, and then we see Mantis and Drax leaping from lawn to lawn, following Kevin Bacon. And I think that looked so silly.
Oh, it did, for sure. 100%.
Because, you know, that's like, what was the old Wolverine cheesy
Oh,
thing where he
dude.
would like,
Oh, dude, like in,
On the wires?
Origins. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like when Sabretooth, he's in the battlefield, and he's like doing the beast.
Yes.
That was like the shittiest. It was like, dude, what the hell is...
it just looked corny. It's like, look, we know that these people are capable, I guess, of making leaps like that, but that's not how they travel. I would imagine Drax had like, you know, one of those mini jetpacks that they give him. Same thing with Mantis. But I think it just looks silly, them leaping around like the Incredible Hulk from lawn to lawn. They're like chasing him down. And is it at this point that the cops arrive?
Well, yeah, because they caught up with Kevin Bacon, and then the cops get there.
And Drax is bulletproof?
Yeah. Well, Drax is resilient as fuck. He's always been resilient.
I think they're hinting at that, like, the stuff we see him shot at in all the other movies or things he's featured in are, like, high-grade, heavy
lasers.
high weaponry, and
Yeah,
this is
'cause
just puny human pea shooters.
It was just weird to me, because I feel like if you shot Drax in the comic books, he would be...
No, because like the stuff that every time that he's been harmed with in the past, it always been like high grade shit. Like I think that the only time he's ever been like
incapacitated.
Yeah, was when what's his face stabbed him, and that was with like a fucking some kind of special. It was
a special blade.
You know, it was Chitauri or some shit like that. But Drax, you got to remember, he crushed that one fucking thing with his hands. So he's not like a pussy by any means.
And this is when Drax kills a cop, right?
He didn't kill a cop, but he flipped it. He flipped a car, and I thought that they were dead. But, you know, they went, because Mantis went
She checked on him, and then they added to the candy cane silly joke, like, does this look like a silly man to you? And they're like,
yeah, because remember she asked
I
the
knew
cop,
it.
like, here, you can have the candy cane. And then she's like,
We're
even now. Like, it was a generous gift. And then she's like, does that look like a man to you? And they're like, no. He's like, yeah, my friend's an idiot.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Shit like that is hilarious.
I must have, like, looked away for a second, because I'm watching this, and I'm like, they just killed cops. Like, what the fuck,
they were still
dude?
alive. Because I thought the same thing at first, like, whoa, dude, Drax is going pretty hard here. But they were still alive, because Mantis talked to him and all that stuff.
Alright, so we had more lame Christmas music that was playing during this.
I noticed in your daily handout notes that the one track on this whole Christmas special that I was okay with is your least favorite.
Oh, and I went hard on that with a couple strong words, I
There's some
think.
heated language about the Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan. I don't like Billy Corgan, but I like the Smashing Pumpkins.
I hate Billy Corgan, and I hate the Smashing Pumpkins. And how does that song go? Like, there'll be presents.
Yeah.
Toys for girls and boys.
Toys for girls and boys. We love Christmas. Like, fucking... they just, like, put me over the edge.
We don't need lumps of coal.
Just love and good cheer. Holiday cheer.
I thought it was okay.
We're not there yet. Don't give me your fucking conclusion, James. Don't you conclude. So they capture captured Kevin Bacon, and she does her mantis thing to make him feel like it's all right.
Yeah, they're on the way to the planet and, like, you know, basically trying to convince Kevin, or she just does her powers and Kevin's okay with it at first.
But he, like, talks to them and they realize through talking to him that he's not...
No, he's not any of the things that Peter said that he was.
And in fact, they call him a disgusting actor.
That was great. He's an actor. And, like, even Mantis, who is, like, the most passive person in the Guardians, like, he's an actor. Like, she's pissed, like,
right.
furious, and, like...
So, yeah, they get back to the planet with him. They box him up, and they bring him out. And Peter steps out into the market, and they've decorated for Christmas some lame, I'm going to use softer words, lame Billy Corgan Christmas song is playing. Which is, like, to me, Billy Corgan, who's just, like, Mr. Ego and Mr. like fuck the music industry. Why the fuck did you make a Christmas song? And does he think his Christmas songs are better? Because you know what? I think simply having a wonderful Christmas time is better than Billy Corgan's lame Christmas song.
I have to get a new beer.
Oh, fine. No, because alcohol is for heathens.
Thank you, James.
That's right, you heathens.
100%.
So, anyway, they give Kevin Bacon to Peter, and of course he has a reaction that any normal person would. And he's like, oh my god, this is human trafficking! And Drax goes, yeah! And that was funny. That Drax one got me. And so he has them unsnap him out of Mantis's spell, and of course he freaks out and runs away, and they chase after him, basically. And what, they convince him?
Well, the one guy, I forgot what the hell his name is. The other Terran guy. James Gunn's brother. He talks to Kevin Bacon and explains to him Peter's situation and everything that happened. And then Kevin Bacon has a change of heart, and he decides that he's going to write a Christmas song!
Oh, fuck yes! We didn't have enough Christmas songs
So we need
already.
another Christmas song, and everybody has a fantastic time with all the cheese.
Yeah, and I wrote, let's see, Kevin Bacon does Christmas songs. This whole thing was, what was it? Had no story or has bare minimum story, and it's just full of scenes meant to play like a music video, kind of like Rocky IV, but not as good. Because of course it's not as good as Rocky IV, but that was one of my big things. This whole thing kind of just felt like...
Did it need the fucking robot, Larry? Did it need the fucking robot?
Happy birthday, Peter. Runs out with a cake and a beer or whatever.
Oh, I thought you meant there was robots in this Guardians of the Galaxy.
It needed the
special.
Rocky
I missed
V
that.
robot.
This guy,
It
Paulie's
needed the
robot from Rocky IV. Because Rocky IV has everything. It's the best movie ever, and maybe we'll talk about it one day in more detail.
No, it's not gonna happen.
So, basically, Peter's happy, everyone's filled with holiday cheer, and Kevin Bacon eventually goes home. And so after all of that, we cut to seeing what happened after Yondu threw away Christmas, basically. So he goes to the trash, and he takes out his present, and it's his
doodad.
first little
The little figurine.
The things he likes putting up
putting on
that
the
he
dashboard.
thinks are cute or whatever.
Which was kind of cool.
Right, and then so you see him give Peter a present, and it's Peter's guns, which I thought was kind of neat. I'm like, that's kind of a cool way to tie that all together.
Also, right when I saw the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, as much as you hate it, did you not see how Halo, Covenant Plasma Rifle, his blasters are inspired?
Yeah,
It never registered in my mind because Halo doesn't even pay rent in my brain. It didn't even I'm like, oh, but I can see that now that you said that. Absolutely, just give maybe some spikes. It kind of looks like
it doesn't have to be a needler. I'm talking just.
It looks like a
No, it does look like the same thing for sure. I noticed the aesthetic similarity.
Thank you,
Yeah,
James.
dude, Halo is so...
I've only played because a lot of my family played. My cousins and stuff. We used to play multiplayer all the time.
I did 1 and 2, but after that, I was just like, whatever, man. I just don't like... I never had an Xbox.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a PlayStation boy a little bit. But, so, I think it's funny because when we look at the trash can and Yondu, they leave Taserface's. I'm sure Taserface's present never made it out of the trash can.
No.
They're just like, oh, fuck that guy. That's probably why he's so salty.
You know what's hilarious is I thought Taserface was a character that was created exclusively for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Then I realized that he actually was a Marvel character.
Really?
Yeah. He was an actual Marvel character. And I was like, Jesus Christ,
That's
man. They
beyond
were built.
me.
Yeah. And
I either forgot about it or never realized. Or,
he was just as minor as everybody.
I was going to say it probably didn't even get on my radar because I'm like,
but
why would I think about him?
He was one of those characters that was devised in the 90s where everything had to be extreme and like...
Oh, yeah.
Did he have a lot of cargo pouches?
All the pouches, he was clearly designed by Rob Liefeld, and, he had kind of like a spiky mullet and all kinds of shit.
One of the greatest American comic book artists of all time, Rob Liefeld.
Fucking hack.
Hey, whoa! You've seen that Captain America cover. It's phenomenal.
With this fucking anatomical aberration.
So ridiculous. I'm sorry, Rob Liefeld. I still like you. Felt like a very long commercial with no substance to it. It was just kind of like filler scenes all strung together, lined up with jokes to distract you from that there's nothing going on.
For me, it was like some of the characters they didn't really know what to do with.
Yeah.
Which, it's whatever. Because, we didn't really get any development with Nebula or...
No, and we don't need to.
No, but I get it. You can only do so much for it's a holiday special. So It's got to be just simple and fun, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
Did anyone notice that Nebula's dance seemed like she was at like a Western bar?
I did. Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of off.
But in case you guys forgot the question I asked you, what was your favorite part? The things you disliked about it.
Well, for me, favorite part, just...
That it was Christmas.
Yeah, overall, I think it did its job. It was happy. It was fun. I know that you hated the whole one-liners for Drax thing, but honestly, for him watching him beat the shit out of a GoBot, for me was hilarious.
Okay.
In case we didn't mention that part, when they first get to Hollywood, they see all the people in cosplay and shit, and there's a guy dressed like a fucking GoBot. And
do we see a Starscream or an Ant-Man as well?
Yeah, we see all kinds of other shit, but there's one guy dressed like a GoBot, and Mantis has to restrain Drax because his brother got his head ripped off by a GoBot. Okay. Which is just so absurd. And that's weird because if you think about it, it's kind of poking fun at Drax overall as a character.
Yeah, they're saying he's not worth the time.
Right, basically because everybody in his family's been killed by by either Thanos or a GoBot.
They're like, yeah, fuck this guy. He's just pure comedic value now because James thinks he's useless.
He's not useless. He's comic relief, and he's making me happy, Larry. No, but yeah, Drax should deserve better. But, you can only have one character kill Thanos, I guess. True. And... No, go ahead.
Go for it.
My favorite moment of this, in the Christmas corner here, was towards the very end when they're dispersing the presents as the song's closing out. A few of them are gifted miniatures that are recreations of scenes from the holiday special that, Drax is flipping a car and stuff.
Groot made those because he made them out of pieces of wood that he painted. That was really cool.
And then the last one they go on is just the guy opening and it's excited, and it's of him opening and excited, smiling. And I just thought that was like...
Yeah, that was
too cute. How much you love this movie for a second while I refill my coffee?
Can you refill me too?
Yeah, sure.
Give Neil a fill-up. Give him life.
You guys talk about how much you love this terrible segment.
He needs more hot brain juice.
Hey, you gotta get all that brain juice. I thought it was all right. I know that I think Larry's a fucking Scrooge. I think Larry's Scrooging.
He's got the spirit, but
He's got the
picky about
spirit,
it.
but he's Scroogier than I am. I can say this now that he's getting my coffee refill. Larry's a Scrooge. Scroogier than I, and I'm older. It's saying something.
Here you go.
Christmas is a time for giving, a time to be with one's family.
I say bah. Humbug.
I was talking all this shit while you were gone.
Green juice. Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
He did spit in it. That's not eggnog.
Okay, so you guys obviously liked the holiday special.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay.
It was, to me, it was what it was. I didn't expect anything, and I didn't get much, and that's okay. You know, it is what it is. So that's a wrap for having an episode on Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Let us know what you think about it in the comments below, if you think I'm full of shit or if you think James is right.
I'm always full of shit most of the time, but if you want to make me feel better about things, I deserve it.
And we don't want James to feel good.
Come on,
No.
guys. Come on.
Let's talk about a movie that we've all been excited about. We all went to the theater together to see it, which is a rare treat these days where we all get out at the same times, because this fucker always goes to the movies before everybody because he's like, oh, it's Thursday. It comes out on Thursday, even though release day's Friday. I got nothing to do. Fuck
I
everybody.
haven't done that in a long time. The last thing I did, I think that was Mad Max that I did that at.
No, it was way. I'm gonna dig through our text messages and I'm gonna find out, because you did this shit to me not that long ago.
When?
I don't know, but I'm gonna bring it up.
It might have been Halloween. Probably Halloween.
You were there with us for Halloween, I
No,
think.
Halloween ends.
Halloween ends.
Oh, yeah, you saw that.
Yeah, he
with
saw
us.
that with us. See?
You're
Yeah,
mine.
fuck you, dude. That was only a month or two.
I was saving you the trouble, you know.
That's what you said. That's what
Dude,
you
trust
said.
me, dude.
But if it was great, you either would have said it was great, or you wouldn't have told us that you went at all.
No, if it was shit, I would have made you go see it just to freaking
That's true.
waste the money.
That's true. So
I only see James on episodes of this podcast or at a movie.
At the movies. Yeah, that's true.
Much. It's the only time I'm gonna leave the house.
So we're talking about Violent Night. Nick, can you pop up the writer and director for me? I want to give them their dues.
Tommy Wirkola for director.
Tommy Wirkola. Let's get up my IMDb
Completely
here so I can remember everyone's names, because I have terrible memory. Yeah, so this is Violent Night, directed by Tommy Wirkola, and writers Pat Casey and Josh Miller. And Tommy, from my research, it doesn't look like he's done a lot of movies. It looks like it's his first big thing, besides one of Nick's favorites, Dead Snow.
Oh, really?
I didn't realize. I know one of the guys was in Pandorum.
He was the writer for Dead Snow. I'm almost
Huh.
positive. Let me double check here. But, yeah, I saw that earlier. I thought that was, yep.
No shit. Wow. Okay.
Which is weird, because what a B movie, and then moving up to something like, and Dead Snow came out forever ago.
yeah,
right?
but I mean, this movie, when I saw, because the same studio that produced Bullet Train, I think.
Really?
I think so, because I remember the first intro. It was either the same production company or the same one of the two.
I watched Bullet Train probably 5 times
I love
last
Bullet
week.
Train. Yeah,
It's fucking great.
I love it. It's great. I can watch it.
And we absolutely butchered our review on it.
We did.
Our first episode.
And
it sucks. 'cause-
No, I know, and I thought about it because there's so much stuff in that movie. There's so
Dude,
much shit.
I put it on like once a day last week because it's just such a good background movie.
Yeah,
it's
it's
got
great.
everything.
Yeah, it's great.
And you don't need to pay attention to every little thing. And it's just, Bullet Train's phenomenal.
But anyhow, Violent Night. The one thing that between that and production company being common, the one thing I noticed with Violent Night is the blood in a lot of circumstances when the close-ups is very thick and kind of chunky.
Oh.
Especially in Violent. Well,
A lot of
there's
this
one
blood
part-
is CGI.
it is, but the parts where it's practical, it looks extra
goopy.
extra thick.
Thick.
With 3 C's, not just 2, but 3 fucking C's. There's 3 C's in that thick blood. But anyhow, I digress. Violent Night.
So what made this movie work, since we have a B movie director behind the wheel, is the guys that wrote the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. We're actually behind this.
Really?
Yeah!
that.
And I think both Sonic movies were great. they're not like the best thing ever, but it's so much better than what you expected it to be.
Right.
Did you
I haven't
finally
seen
watch it?
2, but I absolutely love Jim Carrey's performance as Eggman in number 1. He has made the movie.
Well, I think they nailed Sonic too, because like when you see a cartoon character come into a movie, you're like, all right, what do we expect?
Right.
They're gonna just do whatever the fuck they want, and that's kind of what happened initially with the original design.
Oh yeah,
of
people
Sonic.
are like, what
Like
the
the
fuck?
teeth or something?
Yeah.
They didn't. It wasn't well received. I'll put it that way.
But they nailed it. I think the voice actor that did Sonic, great choice. I think his overall character, his persona, I thought it was great. Sonic the Hedgehog, watch it, 1 and 2, baby, because Knuckles in 2 is voiced by Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's
love
fantastic.
him.
Yeah, I think
Love
that's
it.
Any Rogue the Bat, though?
What's that?
Rogue the Bat?
Rogue the Bat. I don't know. That might be a little racy for the kids these days.
We'll have Queen Lizzo. Lizzo.
Be a Rogue the Bat.
The internet revolts.
Or Missy Elliott.
Or Missy. That's both interesting choices. But yeah, those were the writers. They did the Sonic movies, and that's how I think this worked. Because Violent Night, at its core, is, in brief, it's a movie about Santa Claus basically running around kicking ass. You see the trailer, you're like, okay, this is just Santa as Rambo doing his thing.
I had a hard time at first kind of like getting on board with it because I feel like
Right.
I had a hard time finding its core.
Absolutely.
Or
So-
like finding its tone, I guess.
Right, so really quick before we get into that, so this movie is basically about Santa Claus. It's like Santa in a Die Hard movie. Santa is in a situation where he is trapped in a house with these terrorists, villains, whatever you want to call them, and they're after
Johnny Legs.
they're after a big chunk of money, and it's from just before we actually get into it, it's just him running around and kicking ass.
Right. And,
That's the general idea. Of the
yeah,
movie.
it's basically the whole idea that Santa has had this. I mean, since he's immortal, we can assume that he's had a very long life. And in that very long life, he has a past.
Well, yeah, and up to this point, before we get
Yeah,
there, he's
before
just
we
now
get that,
jaded.
Exactly. This Santa is also very.
It's like bad.
Jaded. Yeah, he's kind of he's jaded. He's cynical. He's in a world where people don't believe in him anymore.
And of course, it's perfect choice of casting to choose David
David
Harbour.
Harbour is fucking great, man.
That is Hopper from Stranger Things, and
go
what's that dumb Frankenstein thing he did on Netflix?
Frankenstein's monster Frankenstein.
Oh
I
my
love it, and
God.
I told you about it. I wanted. Did you watch it?
I did. I thought it was
It
hilarious.
was great.
But
Right?
It was so
like
stupid.
that part where he's basically like a faux Orson Welles.
Yes.
And he's in
Yeah.
that steakhouse and he's eating he's talking about eating the beef Wellington.
Yes.
And he's just eating only the bread and leaving the meat in the trash cans.
Oh, that was
good.
so funny. If you guys haven't seen Frankenstein's
Monster
Monster Frankenstein on Netflix, it's got David Harbour in it. It's really good.
Very good.
But he's the perfect choice for this movie because he's just some gruff, grumpy Santa. And we see at the beginning, he's just kind of in a bar. He's become very jaded. He's just slamming drinks back. It's Christmas. He's hanging out with another
There's
mall
another
Santa.
like a mall Santa comes in and they're talking about their Santa careers, and he's kind of like
All
talking-
they want is money.
right, basically talking about, without trying to reveal he's the Santa, saying how he's kind of over it and how he doesn't want to do it anymore, and he's smashed. And then he decides he's going to take off, so he goes through the roof access, and the bartender's like, what the hell, where are you going? And so she goes to follow him, and she sees him take off in his sleigh, and he doubles back around
And it's that magic moment where most people in movies are like,
oh
"It's
my
Santa
God,
Claus!"
she's looking up and marveling, and then you see him just go over the side and just chuck all over her.
And it's gross.
Splatter all. You can see the steam rising off of her.
Well, it's like chunky.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
gnarly, dude.
It's so
But
gross.
at that point, that kind of turned me off to this movie because I'm like, oh, is this the kind of humor we're going for?
Right,
I'm
right.
like, is this the kind of low ball bodily fluid?
Kind of toilet humor type shit.
I thought we were getting into another bad Santa.
Exactly.
Like, just judging it by the first scene, that's the impression.
Which
I
Bad
got.
Santa's great, but we don't need another Bad Santa.
No, it's already been done. But he takes off, And we get this bit of him stopping at all these houses. And it's really funny because he stops at one house and he drinks the milk in the glass. There's a little bit of milk left in the glass, and then he fills it up with like bourbon or some shit.
God, dude,
and it's
that
like
was
cloudy. And
oh
milky.
my God, that was so messed up.
I
I
was
was then watching. I'm like gagging.
I heard Nick audibly next to me go, ugh.
Oh my God, that was so rough. Because there's like he's pissed because it's like skim.
Yeah.
He's pissed because it's skim milk, and then he dumps it in the flower pot, and there's still like a little bit of how milk is. There's still always gonna be some milk in there, and he just fills it up with bourbon. And he's just like, oh God, it's
so
like
nasty.
it's boy, it's fucking milky, dude. It's so gross.
So gnarly. So I think at that point we basically cut to our main characters of the movie, where it's a young girl and her mother waiting in a car, and the father eventually comes. And it's very clear that the mother and father, they're either separated or they're at mid-divorce or something like that.
Things aren't, it's a broken family.
Right.
Fracturing family, I guess you could say.
And he's basically, he shows up and he's just putting on that smile. He's like, it's Christmas! Ah!
Put up the facade for the kid.
Right.
It's all about the kid.
And so basically they're all going to his mom's house for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whatever.
And we kind of assume through the dialogue between them two that there's... his family is very high strung,
right?
And they got to put up kind of like a front for them.
Yeah, like a performance.
Yeah,
keeping up appearances,
high pressure.
Right.
Yeah, and so they get there, and this family is loaded. We don't know exactly what they do.
They don't really touch on it, but
they have a company.
Yeah, and the matriarch, the mother, she's talking on the phone to what ends up, we find out, being a politician, and she's just giving him the fucking business. So
and she's the sassy matriarch.
Right,
yeah.
and she is just like, don't shit in my mouth and tell me it's chocolate cake. She doesn't take any shit from anybody.
You can tell she's so involved in that business that, like, everyone around, it doesn't matter.
No,
if there's a kid
politicians,
around her,
everybody around her, she's just like, fuck everything else.
Right,
Yeah.
but she's
I
all
believe
business.
it was a senator specifically.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, she is a senator. Okay.
No, the person that she was on.
Oh, okay, yeah, senator, yeah. And then, of course, the what's it called? The aunt.
Oh,
The
her
aunt,
daughter.
and then her
mom's
daughter, the mom's daughter, and then her fiance and their shit kid. It's not their kid, but it's her son.
Well, so the mother, the matriarch's name is Gertrude, and these characters are just hilarious. They remind me, I don't know if you guys watched The Righteous Gemstones on HBO, but their dynamic reminds me very much like a character in The Righteous Gemstones, where it's just that like total suck up to them, do whatever they can to like get up on the ladder in the family.
Getting that peaking order.
But they're fucking nerdy and weird and goofy. And so they have a son, and his name's Bert. But you find out that his name's Bertrude. Because they're such suck-ups.
Yeah.
That they wanted to name it after the mother, but they had a boy, so they named it Bertrude.
Bertrude. Birdie.
So that was funny. And so yeah, we find out that, they all get there, and they all basically snap to before the mom comes in, because they all want to put on that face, yada, yada, yada. And, basically, they just continue on with their Christmas evening, right?
Right.
And at this point, I believe this is when Santa arrives at their house, almost at the same exact time that the terrorists come in.
Right. So, amongst when the
Oh, you know what? Hold up. Let me back the fuck up.
because we didn't
all
really the party, when they're setting up for the party, we see the caterers kind of go through the house.
But and we get the hint that there's something up. But the major thing that happens is that the dad sucks and forgot to take his daughter to go see Santa.
Oh, right.
So he's got to think of some
walkie-talkies.
He's got to think of some bullshit way to save this, and he's like, oh, and he finds this pair of walkie-talkies, and he gives her one. He's like, this talks to Santa,
right?
Blah blah blah, which is one of the numerous nods to Die Hard 2 in this movie, or just Die Hard in general. Well, the director has made it pretty open that this is like, there's so many
An
nods
homage
to
to
Die
Die
Hard.
Hard
There's
that is-
kills that are taken from Die Hard. John Leguizamo was in Die Hard 2.
Oh, you know-
all these different things. It's basically the walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
The character caught in a random situation with the terrorists. The big bank vault that the family has that they're trying to get.
yeah.
This is Die Hard.
Even the
really-
kill
yeah.
team being not on the side that you expected is a direct Die
Right,
Hard.
I never really
Like,
made those parallels
from
until you
work
notice it.
Yeah.
Brought that to my attention.
Yep. So he gives her the walkie-talkie, and that's when Santa arrives. Because we've already gotten a weird feeling from the staff or whatever.
Right, because
they all look like German bad guys.
Right, and like, you know, we just get the sense that they're not caterers.
Right, exactly. And we all know where this is going because we watched the trailer for this movie, and it's like, okay, you're bad guys. So Santa arrives at the house. The bad guys arrive at the house. They kick the door in. They shoot up the Christmas tree. John Leguizamo goes in there and goes, "Man, Merry Christmas! I hate you." His
And
name
he
is Scrooge.
Such a fucking prick. Yeah, he takes the name Scrooge just as like, because they all have like code names or whatever.
Yeah, and he's your typical bad guy
Yeah,
where
he's
it's
just
like,
a total piece of shit.
I had a bad Christmas, so no one gets to have a good Christmas. I hate
Oh.
Santa and
Over the top fucking Scrooge character.
Right.
Similar to the Mel Gibson one I just watched, Fat Man. The main character had some hang up about Christmas, and then I'm gonna ruin it for everyone
Dude,
else.
it's not Christmas's fault that your family sucked or that your dad didn't love you or, you know, it's not the holiday's fault. Okay, John. Scrooge is his character.
Or Gremlins, like, why are you mad at your dad being
Dying in the chimney?
You shouldn't be mad at Christmas. You should be mad at chimney.
Right. I never got that part in Gremlins. I'm like, why did they, when I was a kid watching that movie for the first time, I'm like, this took a weird turn. You know, why did they say that? Why did they put that in the movie? But the bad guys arrive, and they're basically holding the family hostage because they know there's a vault full of money somewhere, and they need one of the family members to help them get it in there, or to get in there. Santa arrives at the same exact time, and he's trying to drop off presents, and that's when a security guard comes in.
Yeah, a gunman comes in, and they have an altercation, and it doesn't go great for Santa.
No.
He's not
He's not like fully kicking ass like you expected him to from the
he's just
trailer.
kind of trying to make it through the night, and he has this fight, and he fucks the dude up because he's fucking Santa, and he's inherently immortal,
Right.
You know, so he has a little bit more constitution. But the one part I love in this fight was when he's across like the pool table, was it? And the one guy does something, and he throws something at the dude.
That's a different scene.
Is it?
Yeah, because this is the room with the Christmas tree and everything, the toy soldier guy. The pool hall is a different scene.
Oh, okay.
When he finds the walkie-talkie.
right,
Because he
all
finds
right.
the walkie-talkie.
The pool halls are like in the basement.
Yeah, yeah.
Because this was a star, right? He changed.
No. He pushes him out the window and he falls onto the ice block.
Yeah.
Which I have a fun little thing for us to do at the end of this review. We're gonna go through the parental guide of this movie and just read all of the silly things that are on there because I thought that would be fun. So yeah, he pushes him out the window, gets rid of him. The reindeer fly off because they hear the gunshots that happened.
Oh, yeah. So the deer are gone.
Well, they
Yeah.
go through the roof.
Yeah, well, the gunshots go through the roof, the reindeer fly off, and Santa's got it under control at this point, kind of, sort of, and that's where he continues creeping through the house. And I feel like...
But he ends up outside, and then he finds one dude out there dead, the guard guy, and then he realizes that he's wounded, and so he goes back to the house.
Oh,
and
the
that's
shot,
when
yeah.
he takes off his gear, and then we see that
The
Santa,
tattoos
the tattoos, and he's got
and-
the dad bod.
Yeah.
He's David Harbour. He's got the dad bod. He's got all the tattoos, and he's got this stab wound, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does he do? He takes Christmas twine, like the tinsel, and sutures it with the thread in the Christmas twine.
Of course.
And then he takes like Christmas ribbon and wrapping paper and like bandages it.
Right.
Like, Christmas magic, ladies and gentlemen. It's so good.
And he doesn't know how it works.
No, but it's great. It's stuff like that. I love stuff like that.
So, at this point, it's just kind of... So Santa creeps into another room, has another altercation with another bad guy, fucks him up, but at this point, when the dude's knocked out, he takes the dude's walkie-talkie and is going through the channels, And that's when he picks up the channel from the little girl, saying like, oh, you have to help me. They're holding us hostage, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know how the bad guys didn't hear her talking on the walkie-talkie.
Yeah, because they're right there in the living room,
They're right fucking there.
Yeah, but it's you got to suspend disbelief for the holiday.
Whatever.
It's more so for the holiday.
So at this point, it turns into Bruce Willis and Carl Winslow walkie-talkie, and I know I did a fictional character and a real person's name, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got it.
And this is what's cool about this, because we all thought this was just going to be a violent romp, blood, guts, whatever, but we get a real wholesome sense out of Santa, because he could just up and leave at any time, and everything we've seen up until this point, that's what we believe that he would do, but he, like, sticks around for this one girl, and it's just like, oh, like, you start to really see
why Santa does what he does.
Yeah, and you're like, and you're rooting for him to do what he does.
Right.
You're like,
despite
you're
the fact
Santa.
that he's been beaten to shit and he's jaded.
Yeah.
And he's in a world where he's stuck with a lot of birdies.
Yeah.
A lot of birdies.
Yep.
And this one little girl is basically the one thing that's going to keep him going through this night.
Yep. And so he gets his list. He sees all the assassins or villain, whatever the fuck they are in the house. They're all on the naughty list. And he tells her, he's going to take care of it. So at this point, it turns into just Santa going to this spot, butchering people.
Yeah.
Santa going to this spot,
and we kind of get like
people.
a bit of backstory as to Santa's history.
He was like, what, a Viking or some shit?
Viking. He had Skull Crusher.
Oh, yeah.
His fucking hammer.
Yep.
Dude. And he was just a badass, and he explains to the girl that he had this, he used to be a bad guy.
Right.
You know? So, like, you know, we get a little insight in that, and I think that, like, the one character that doesn't believe that he's Santa Claus is Scrooge. Because all the other bad guys are like, this is Santa Claus.
It could be Santa.
Claus. And then, like, you know, and then when he finally confronts Scrooge, he's like, he asks him who he is, and he's like, well, he tells him all the names, and he's like, Kris Kringle, Santa Claus. It's like, yeah!
It's like how the devil goes through his many names when confronted.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But it's at a little point at around this part of the movie, one of the villains is making all the hostages, the family, like give each other gifts or whatever, just to pass the time.
The real bastard of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so the son gives his gifts to the matriarch, the mother, and she doesn't say what it is, but you can...
It's just a card.
Yeah, you get a hint, and you're like, oh, some shit's going down, and she won't say what it is. But it's very clear, because we find out later on that he took some of the family's money and was planning on running away the next morning.
Because they're assholes, so he was just going to take the money and run.
Get away with his family and start fresh.
Right.
So, that happens, and... They eventually... Santa ends up going... He's kicking ass. He goes to the shed. He kills more people. And it's at this point that they're dragged outside. The family's dragged outside.
Because the Gertrude talks about how there's the paramilitary team that are coming to save her.
Right.
And it turns out that they're in the employ of the
John
Leguizamo's crew. So they're in on it too.
Yeah.
So they come in and they decide that they're going to try to kill Santa too. Well, they send him into the outhouse, like basically the shed where all the farming,
the barn.
the barn where all the stuff is, and they basically the team gets sent to their death.
And this is where we see Santa stab a candy cane into a dude's face.
He puts it in his mouth, and then he looks over and he sees a sledgehammer,
Yeah.
and he's like, Skull Crusher,
and he just fucking them up.
Wastes them. He wastes these fools. And I'll say this again, like, the blood, when it's not CGI, like, and it's extra noticeable in later on in the Home Alone type scenes.
Right.
Where the blood is just extra chunky.
Yeah.
It's just gross.
Yeah.
But the satisfaction from it, like, that whole scene was great.
And that's he takes like an ice skate and chops a dude's head off, and
yeah,
like,
it's
all
great,
that
man.
shit.
He just does all this nasty stuff, and
So how do they get to that shed? They end up in a shed in the middle of the
because
property.
he basically gets chased in there, and that's when the little girl convinces him that he needs to step it up, that he needs to go back to being a mean guy again, because he basically rejected the notion of being a Viking.
Yeah, but
And-
I know that they all hop on snowmobiles.
Oh, yeah.
like-
So then they after the shed, they all jump in the snowmobiles, and there's a chase scene.
They go back into the house, I believe, before the snowmobiles, when they're exiting, is towards the end.
Yeah, because they find out that the money's outside. And
I know. I'm trying to get there because this movie doesn't have story worth
it
talking
doesn't
about.
really. I don't
That's what I'm
remember
saying.
exactly
Just like, so they end up somehow after the snowmobile chase scene at this cabin on the property, just a little like ramshackle thing where
With a detached chimney.
Oh yeah, the ruin. Yeah.
Yeah, where we have John Leguizamo, Scrooge, whatever you want to call him, and Santa have their confrontation.
Yes.
And he's got the girl hostage or something like that. Somebody.
I think he's got the girl hostage, and
But anyway, he gives this whole speech about why he hates Christmas and why he's a shithead and how he's gonna kill Christmas and ruin Christmas.
Scrooge doesn't believe until he finds the list, and he sees it, and he sees all the shit that he done. We see all the shit that he does.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You really are real." And then he gets even more pissed off that he actually does exist, and that's when he goes hard. Mm-hmm. And then they get close to that fucking chimney, and he fucks Santa up.
Yeah.
Beforehand, like he pins him against the chimney.
Yep.
With his hands, and he fucking grabs him by the throat. He tears his hand and grabs him up, and then he does the chimney thing where.
Oh yeah, he touches his nose, he grabs Scrooge, and they fly up the chimney.
And it just shreds Scrooge to shit. It's like some Mortal Kombat fatality shit where he's just basically a bloody torso afterwards.
Right.
And you're just like, yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, even Santa himself is like,
yeah, we get a couple of
yeah, it's great. It's pretty good.
He went from Johnny Legs to Johnny No Legs, No Arms, No Torso. By the time Santa was done, he was just holding on to his clothing.
John Legsagano.
John Legsagano.
So, but at this point, Santa's been shot, right? He's gonna die.
He's up there, and then the other guy that was the leader of the team shoots him because he's still alive.
Right.
He riddles him with bullets. Santa falls, presumably dies. And the guy's talking shit, and that's when Gertrude comes up and shoots him in the head.
Yeah, the bad guy,
Yeah,
SWAT
the bad
guy.
Yeah, and then
so they now they decide to keep Santa alive and warm because the cabin's on fire or whatever. We need to burn all this money to keep Santa warm. Blah blah blah.
because
blah.
they realize that this guy, whoever he was, he saved us. But since they don't believe, he's dying.
Right.
So then the girl says, "You don't understand. It's a real Santa Claus." And because she starts telling them, they start believing.
It's like the end of Elf.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
I believe in Santa.
Basically, yeah. It's a faith thing. So as long as you keep on believing him, Christmas magic will keep him alive.
Right.
Kind of like Freddy Krueger.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay. The same magic. He's not so different. Chris and Freddy.
Both wear sweaters.
Yeah. There you go.
So that's basically the end. It's a happy ending, and I think overall, I really enjoyed this movie.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It was, if people complain about it, that, this doesn't make sense, or there wasn't, I think Joe Bob Briggs has a great saying, is that sometimes movies have too much story getting in the way of the plot. Which means just let the movie be the movie.
Yeah.
And that's how some of the best movies are made, and that's why I think this basically was a cult classic in the making, just because it is what it is. It's a Rambo Santa movie, Die Hard Santa movie, whatever you want to call it, and it dished out exactly what it told you it was going to, with a really heartwarming, heartfelt, just kind of...
Yeah, it was weird because
she makes Santa believe in Christmas again.
Right. And the thing is, like I said, the movie's not perfect because I had a hard time kind of really finding out what the movie's tone was just initially.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't really know what it is.
It's getting in the way of the plot.
But I mean, it's like Troll, the first Troll movie where not the new Netflix Troll.
Right.
But it doesn't know if it's or Troll 2. It doesn't know if it's a little kids movie or an adult movie masquerading as a kids movie.
Sure.
Just initially though, but once you settle into the movie itself, it's fantastic. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think overall it is what it is. It's Die Hard Christmas. If you like action, if you like David Harbour, if you like gore,
If you like John Leguizamo,
If you like John Leguizamo,
big names here.
you know, like it's all in there, and it was just fun.
Yeah, it
and
was
that's
good.
all it needed to be. So I would like to take a moment to look at this silly parental guide on IMDb and rattle off some of the violence and gore section, which is the highest one on here. Severe. Let's see. A man is shot and killed by a large squad team outside. Villain shoots a security guard. A man's eye is struck with a Christmas ornament with no blood. The ornament is then electrocuted. A man falls victim to a booby-trapped ladder. He walks down on a loose step and it breaks and slides down the ladder, and a needle strikes him through the mouth. A man is stabbed with an icicle and blood is briefly shown. A teen boy, that's whatever. Man falls out the window on a large upward-facing icicle and is impaled through the torso. A man is pulled into a snowblower and shredding off the screen. People are killed with a sledgehammer. And followed up with, this movie references farts and anuses.
And by the way, there's buttholes.
Anuses, damn it! Ah!
Enough! When will the liberal agenda end?
Oh, man. So,
Does this get us to our point where we can discuss our favorite kills?
oh, sure, yeah,
kills of the
absolutely.
movie?
What was your guys' favorite kills? Line them up for me.
James, you first.
Well, honestly, there were probably a lot that were in that the farm, not the farmhouse, but the shed that.
scene.
Yeah, that I probably would have forgotten about. That I probably would have appreciated a lot more if I had a recap.
Right.
But chimney just dismemberment was pretty great.
That was
love
excellent.
because it was kind of slow too.
Yeah.
It wasn't. You heard him scream as he was going up, like like that sucks. Other than that, I would say maybe. What was the other one?
See, my shit is like, it wasn't so much the kills, it's more the stuff that would just really hurt.
Right.
'cause a kill's a kill.
Okay,
you
yeah.
know?
I was gonna say the Home Alone stuff. I completely.
Nail through the jaw and how
dude.
they all
Oh, it
reacted
was
to
so
it.
all were
Yeah. Oh my god. Because it's just like, dude, that's such a. You ever like? I don't know if you've ever done this, but sometimes if I'm yawning really hard, I'll overextend my tongue.
Because we're old.
Yeah.
And it hurts your neck.
Yeah, you're
You
like,
gotta,
what
like,
the fuck?
Yank your neck
Yeah,
out.
dude. Like, dude, it's like, you can imagine that. Oh, no, dude. Oh.
How about you, space boy?
I'd say my favorite kill, not that we got to see much of it, but the implication, was probably the snowblower.
Okay.
The chimney was a great final boss kill
Yeah.
finale. And like we were just talking about, the nail. Just because it just gave you the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
It wasn't
that was
just
so
over.
bad.
Because
Yeah.
then the bullet, there's... But wait, there's more
Yep.
kind of element to it.
Yeah. That guy got it really bad. I
Like-
feel like.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. It's like not even the kills. It's like when you see that dude get his hand destroyed by a sock full of pool balls,
yeah.
and I'm like, when you broken bone stuff like that, that's where I'm like, eh,
Yeah. Yeah, that
because they
was
had the
rough.
sound effects and everything, which is just like snapping spaghetti noodles or something. It's never that aggressive.
Celery.
Right, exactly. Yep, yeah, absolutely. We are Foley artists. Tell us, what do you use for broken bones in the comments below.
Celery.
So
Celery's good. Celery's a good one.
overall, what do you boys think about Violent Night? Closing out, highly suggest it, kind of suggest it.
Stick with it. I think that at first you might be like, okay, it's whatever, but it's pays off so good. It's a great movie. Thumbs up.
Krampus was my favorite movie, Christmas adult movie of last year. I'd say Violent Night's my favorite holiday movie of this year.
Very fair. I would agree with you guys. I think it was pretty good. I just think everyone needs to not get such high expectations
Right.
for movies, especially when you see the trailer for this, you know what you're walking into.
Right.
So don't go in there thinking it's going to be some Shakespeare shit, because it is what it is. And I had an absolute blast going in and seeing this movie, and I'll probably end up buying it or watching it again or something. It'll be a holiday classic that will be watched from now on.
Yeah, I think it's a good staple.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a staple.
All right, let us know what you think about Violent Night down in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're doing it. I want to know what you think. And that is about it for our holiday special.
That wraps it up. Yeah, I guess we'll probably see you guys after the holidays.
Absolutely. Like I said, we wanted to get this done and out of the way before everyone else makes their Christmas videos that are better than ours that get piled on top and everything. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to boost our ego and get us there. We're trying to get there. I know we're called unpopular, but we're trying to get there.
Get there.
So as a Christmas gift to us, just drop a like, drop a comment, click that button, and help us make it happen. That's
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from each one of you, starting with you, Larry.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from here. No, I fucked that up. Let me do it again. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from here at Unpopular, the Pop Culture Podcast.
James?
Merry Christmas from here at...
I fucked it up for everybody.
Merry Christmas from the Unpopular Podcast.
There you go.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from the Unpopular Podcast. Also, make sure to stay tuned / catch up on old episodes of the Tape Tomb, as well as Airlock Shock.
That's right. Because we got Christmas you know what? We have episodes for every holiday, I think, at this point, after a year of Nightmare Fuel. So I just want to close with Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Bing, 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 bing. See you on the next one.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
All right.